This is Phillies Postgame Live, presented by Cure Auto Insurance. Ricky Vitalico, I'm Michael Barkan. Here's the deal. This Colorado Rockies franchise stinks. That's just the truth. 16 wins and 23 losses. 16 and 23. They lost 119 games last season, by far the worst record in baseball. And I'm sorry, I don't want to hear the 1 of 162. There are games where you need to stand up and be counted, Ricky Bo. And when you've got Jesus Luzardo, is there any in between with this guy?
No.
Is he either just scintillating or gives up 8 runs?
Yeah,
Which one?
There's really not. And I'm going to give a little synopsis. I mean, when you look at him, the one thing, it's kind of funny because he's very predictable. We talked about him in pregame, and the one thing you watch for is his glove side fastballs. If he is not getting the ball in on that glove side, what does it do? And you're probably out there saying, Ricky, tell me why. Why does that happen? Well, if you're not getting the ball inside to the right-handed hitters, that takes away your changeup, number one. And that usually means if you're not throwing that fastball in there, that sweeper's not going to have that depth and come in there at that angle either. So what could you do as a right-handed hitter? You could lean out a little bit more. Mm-hmm. You could look for that changeup that stays up every once in a while. Or you could catch that sweeper out in front like was hit for a home run today. He's got to command with his fastball. I mean, you want to hear something messed up? Guy had 6 strikeouts. He gave up 6 runs. He just matched everything. But he also had 3 walks to go along with it. All over the place. He's all over the joint. It seems like when he gets people on base, it's panic time. And you saw it as well as I did. We were over there live watching it. You could sense. Yeah. You could almost feel that he was going to keep giving it up.
The body language that he emits, and you can see it on the when you're in person on the mound, might be a little more difficult to see on television because you don't see every single shot. But when he throws a ball or pitch out of the zone, just what he is saying with his body is not good.
He gave up the 1 RBI single where the pitch was middle up just a little bit. It wasn't like up the ones he goes to strike somebody. It was up over the middle of the plate. Base hit up the middle, and you could see him like, why? You threw the ball over the middle of the plate. What did you expect to happen?
Here's Don Mattingly postgame on this loss.
Luzardo was so dominant over his last 2 starts. In your eyes, why did he fall back into his bad habits?
Say that again. I didn't quite understand that question.
He was so dominant over his last few starts. In your eyes, why did he fall back into his bad habits tonight?
I'm not sure which bad habits we're talking about, but obviously the last 2 have been good, but you're always moving forward. That doesn't mean this one's going to be good necessarily. And his stuff was good. Obviously early, I think, 6 punchies in the first 3 innings, but it took a lot of pitches to do it. And I think more than anything, just throwing a lot of pitches there through the, a short period of time. And, a couple of long at-bats. I feel like it was the catcher, Goodman, had a long at-bat. I'm not sure if that's the way he hit the homer, but the ball down, that was probably trying to get underneath him. He just didn't get there. And then Freeman has a long at-bat. I think it's Freeman, right? Yeah, Freeman has a long at-bat. And just kind of wore him down. But I thought his stuff was good.
JT hasn't laid down a sac bunt in 11 years. Is that something you're just not comfortable asking him doing? And how does that change that inning there when you don't move the runner?
Yeah, obviously you want to move the runner. And you're right. For me, it's hard to ask a guy to do something that he doesn't really do. I think the bigger question is it's something that we want to continue to work towards. Maybe it's something that in a game like that you would want to be able to do it. But it's hard for me to put a guy in a position to try to do something that he doesn't really do. And so, there hits the ball to right field a lot. Hopefully he's doing something, driving in a run there or moving a runner. Either one, is good for us.
What did you think of Keller's outing, and what have you made of his season so far?
Obviously he gives up some runs there, but I think his season's been fine. I mean, he's been a little bit scattered, but I don't know if that's anything totally out of the ordinary. I've never I haven't seen a whole lot of him other than, this year, a little bit with the Cubs last year. I think I don't remember him being like pinpoint type guy. He's got big stuff, good breaking ball and all of that. And he's getting the job done for the most part tonight. The pinch hit into the corner puts you in a bind right away because they get the run and they get a guy back in scoring position, and from there, if we keep it at 1 there, we're still in a good spot in an extra inning game with the guy starting at second base. So, it's the second run that really kind of hurts you more than just the first one.
And I know the other day you said you wanted to use Duran that day no matter what. Can you explain why you went with him in the 8th inning?
Same today. He needed to pitch again today. Again, bringing him back, we knew he had to pitch. We got to continue to get him built. I can't wait till the 9th because we may not get to the 9th. I think at that point we're down 7-2 when he pitches. It wasn't a bad spot. I think it was towards the top of the order where he's getting their best guys, so it gives us another 0. But it was a situation that he had to pitch. If I wait to the 9th, that means I got to protect him on the back end of that. I can't let him go out and throw 35 or something. So it was just a spot that we knew before the game that he was going to pitch. Obviously, we wished you wanted it to be a save situation in a game that was a little different than it was at that point. But it was something that we feel like we have to do for him and us, moving forward.
With Luzardo, the inning before, I think he strikes out the side, getting them all swinging. And he's had a few outings like this where he looks so dominant in the next inning and falls off so quickly. Is there can you put your finger on any reason as why the contrast, he just goes from being so good to struggling almost in the span of a batter, basically?
Yeah, it would be hard for me to explain how it goes like that. Sometimes it does. But again, I think as he's struggling that next thing, he's still getting, he's kind of deeper into his pitch count, right away, it feels like. So obviously they did a nice job. Goodman, again, hits the ball down. He didn't get it all the way where he probably wanted to. And then they scratch for some hits and just, again, then the pitch count's at a point where it's like you can't go any further.
What was the moment like for you seeing Crawford hit his first home run?
Well, it was pretty nice right there, right? It got us tied up again, and it was obviously great to see. And Crawl continues to, he's kind of a little bit of a hit collector. He gets them somehow, some way. I know we've been working on him, helping him slowly, learn how to pull the ball a little bit better. We're seeing some of that. So good for him to get the ball in the air there and drive it out of the ballpark. It's something that we think is going to grow over time with him. He's hit some balls off the wall in left field, driven some balls in that gap, along with what he does with his speed and kind of putting the ball in play a lot. So it's good to see it. Was happy, kind of 2 games in a row we're down fairly, yesterday's games out of hand, gets out, pretty much out of hand, and we don't really get anything going. Tonight it took us a while to get anything going, but, the boys kept going and got us back to a spot that we had a chance.